So fellow Rotarians, distinguished guests, good evening. I am past President Rodolphe Melki, Chair of the Admin Committee of the Rotary Club Beirut Cedars. I would like to welcome you all tonight. And we have a special guest speaker tonight, Mr. Elie Nasnas. But before introducing our guest speaker, I would like to present you the upcoming event of the club. So on February 12th, we have a Valentine dinner. And on February 23, we have a joint meeting with the Rotary Club Pointe-à-Pitre, Guadeloupe, in order to celebrate together the Rotary anniversary. As for the month of March, we have on March 2nd, Mr. Shar Arbid. He is the president of the Economic and Social Council in Lebanon, and the topic will be announced soon. And on March 30, we have past District Governor Jean-Luc Perrin, who is the Rotary International representative to the United Nations Geneva, and who will be talking about the topic, Le Rotary et les Nations Unies. This is an extremely interesting topic. So before presenting our speaker, I would like to ask President Roni to make his introduction and to welcome you. President Roni, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Rodolphe. Thank you. Welcome, everyone. Welcome, members, potential members, and friends of Rotary. Thank you for joining us tonight. This month, as you know, Rotary's theme is peace building and conflict prevention. So I will be talking about what Rotary is doing with peace. Today, over 70 million people are displaced as a result of conflict, violence, persecution, and human rights violations. Half of them are children. We as Rotarians refuse to accept conflict as a way of life. Rotary projects provide training that fosters understanding and provides communities with the skills to resolve conflicts. Rotary creates environments of peace. As a humanitarian organization, peace is a cornerstone of our mission. We believe when people work to create peace in their communities, that change can have a global effect. By carrying out service projects and supporting peace fellowships and scholarships, our members take action to address the underlying causes of conflict, including poverty, discrimination, ethnic tension, lack of access to education, and unequal distribution of resources. Our commitment to peace building today answers new challenges. How can we make the greatest possible impact, and how we achieve our vision of lasting change? We are approaching the concept of peace with greater cohesion and inclusivity, broadening the scope of what we mean by peace building and finding more ways for people to get involved. Rotary creates environments where peace can happen. Rotary's 4 roles in promoting peace. Rotary and its members are, first, practitioners. Our work fighting disease, providing clean water and sanitation, improving the health of mothers and children, supporting education, and growing local economies directly builds the optimal conditions for peaceful societies. Second, educators. Our Rotary Peace Centers have trained over 1,300 peace fellows to become effective catalysts for peace through careers in government, education, and international organizations. Third, mediators. Our members have negotiated humanitarian ceasefires in areas of conflict to allow polio vaccinators to reach children who are at risk. Fourth, advocates. Our members have an integral role of respected, impartial participants during peace processes and in post-conflict reconstruction. We focus on creating communities and convening groups that are connected, inclusive, and resilient. Rotary Club Beirut Cedars members are practitioners. They work to fight disease, provide clean water and sanitation, improve the health of mothers and children, support education, grow local economies, fight hunger, and help rebuild houses destroyed by the August 4 explosion. On the screen, you can see some of our actions in the first 6 months of this year That is from July 2021 till December 2021. Thank you for being with us tonight. Back to you, Rodolphe.
Thank you, President. Before introducing our special guest, I would like to ask the Rotarians and the guests, in case they have any question to Mr. Nasnas, they have to write it in the chat. And after the presentation of Mr. Nasnas, we will read it to him. And I can assure you that all the questions will be answered in all transparency by Mr. Nasnas. This is his promise, and this is our promise. So before further ado, I would like to present you Elie Nasnas, who has over 40 years of experience in the insurance industry. He joined AXA Middle East as general manager in 2000 till year to date, and prior to that was the general manager of UAP in Lebanon. He was elected in 2021 as president of the Association of Lebanese Insurers, ACAL. He is a board member of GlobeMed Lebanon and GlobeMed Limited, a medical claims management company where AXA Middle East is a reference partner. Mr. Nasnas has a double bachelor degrees in business, the first one from Dauphine University in Paris, and the second one from St. Joseph University in Beirut. Ladies and gentlemen, in these times of crisis, Lebanon needs more than ever leaders who can make significant changes in their business fields, in society, and for the country. And Mr. Elie Nasnas is without any doubt one of them. Mr. Nasnas, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Rodolphe. So, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Allow me first to thank Ronnie, Rodolphe, Mr. Haroon, and Mrs. Kharma for giving me this opportunity to, I would not say make a presentation, but go for a dialogue with you. I will be brief. I will just, within 15 minutes, brief you about all our challenges, or our endeavors, or our fights, and the solution we are trying to face to maintain the sustainability of our industry. Our industry today is in the middle of the whole economic cycle. It's in the middle of the turmoil of the Lebanese economy. However, it's still surviving with very difficult pace, many challenges, but still surviving. And for the first time, I would say in the industry, we feel that the government or the new government, the new ministers are giving very high importance to our industry. And they want at any cost to make this industry flourish and be sustainable, because they believe we should play a great role in the future economy of Lebanon, and especially in the protection of people. Today, what are our challenges? As you may know, inflation. We are people who commit to buy risks for 1 year. And unfortunately, with the high inflation we face, especially the last 2 years, we had a lot of uncertainties and our pricing could not be adequate. So the inflation was for especially medical insurance, then motor insurance. On the other, I will elaborate a little bit more on this. Another challenge we have is the financial status. Our money blocked at banks, the capital control de facto, which don't allow us to transfer money to our insurers, without whom we cannot work, without whom we cannot sustain insurance for the future. The third challenge we're facing is our talented people leaving for abroad, getting more opportunities and higher salaries and living abroad. And finally, and the most important case is the Beirut port blast, which was, I would say, a very sad centennial event, which was the biggest event I think the country has to face, our industry had to face. let me talk to you about medical insurance first. We have very qualified people in the medical field, very qualified doctors, excellent hospitals, state-of-the-art materials in the hospitals. This was very good when we had the means to pay for it. Today, we don't have the means to pay for it. And the major, I would say, change which happened during the last 6 months of 2021 were the lifting of the subsidies on medicines, medical supplies, and fuel oil. This has given a very high rise on the hospital bills. So hospitals came to see us as insurance companies back in May, saying we cannot sustain the enforced tariffs. We cannot sustain anymore you paying our bills in dollars or Lebanese pounds. We have to change the way we bill, and you have to go into fresh, to pay into fresh dollars. So we said, look, we have commitments for 1 year. We cannot do it for enforced policies, very difficult. And we started negotiation with the hospital. It took maybe 3 to 4 months. And at that time, between the 3 to 4 months, but if you recall that in late September, beginning October, the subsidy were totally lifted. And I think the main issue was that if we had a real, I would say, timeline for the lifting of the subsidy, it was very transparent, wouldn't have faced such difficulties that all the industry has faced in insurance industry and medical field. The dealing with the lifting of the subsidies was a complete mess, unfortunately. So we sat with the hospital, as you said, negotiation, and then we found out that the only way to have a stable bill for a year is to go into fresh dollars. We knew that at high risk, and the risk to go to that the complete sector could collapse. So we started issuing policies in fresh dollars back in October, mid-October. The prices were dropped, I would say, in numeral, dropped by almost, depending on the company, between 25 to 35%, because we negotiated with the hospitals. It dropped in the numeral bill back to the tariff of 2019, but paid in fresh. And we negotiated with them an arrangement for the enforced policies. What are the enforced policies? The enforced policies which are still running and will run maybe for a year as from September. And here comes the problem, because on that stage, even we negotiated with the hospitals on some tariffs, on some arrangements, and even for the policies where we negotiated that the policies are paid in fresh, the patient shouldn't pay, the insured patient shouldn't pay any extra bill either to the physician or to the hospital. We are unfortunately continuously seeing some exceptions which are made by hospital and physician. We clearly said to all our insured that all our insured who paid in fresh shouldn't pay any extra bill to the hospitals and to the physicians. Same thing for the for motor and other. You know that for motor you have the spare parts which are imported, and we had a high rise cost of the motor bills, motor claim bills, coming especially from spare parts and from workshops also, which increased their salaries. They had to increase their cost. So, but in motor and in property, we have a rule in insurance which says, and this is a very important rule, which is it's in the general conditions of the policies for I would say 100 years, which says that you have to declare the real value. You as insured have to declare the real value of your car or your property. And if at the time of a claim, the insured value is not the real value of the good, you would have to pay part of the bill proportionally to the sum insured. Let me give you an example. These glasses, I insured them, let's say, for $1,000. This was broken. The repair of it is $100. At the date of the loss, the surveyor would make, and it said that the real value is $2,000. Then how much would the company pay you? The company will pay you $50, and it's regular to do so. And it was very, very important. And therefore, we at ACAL, at the association, started a communication campaign back in September, billboards on social networks, asking people to review their sum insured and to ensure that their real value. However, if the sum insures in dollars or Lebanese pounds, because of the high inflation and a yo-yo effect, the only way to have a stable insured value is to insure in fresh dollars. So all the companies advise their agent, their brokers, and their clients to insure in fresh dollars. So this we covered, I would say, the medical and motor. Going back to the capital control, and after the capital control, I will talk about the Beirut blast. The capital control today, as you know, it doesn't allow anybody to transfer money abroad. It came all of a sudden, de facto, back in October 2019, and then we had the balances, all the balances which are due to reinsurers since October 2019 were not transferred by the insurance company to the reinsurers. Therefore, we started lobbying with all the parliamentary body, with the ministries, to have an exceptions for the insurance company for their balances due to the foreign reinsurers abroad. This could be easily verified by our regulator. And everybody, the central bank and the regulator, can make sure that we don't declare false figures, because you would get the confirmation from the reinsurers. Unfortunately, with all our efforts, with all what we have done, we couldn't reach till now to have the exception in the law. Although in the first draft of the law, there was an exception of these balances due to reinsurers. Today, when we are lobbying with the parliamentary commissions, they say, look, we don't have the means to do it. We cannot implement an exception that we cannot fulfill. So you'll have to find another way. So what happened afterwards? Unfortunately, we had the Beirut blast. The Beirut blast had an extremely high cost for the insurers. And the highest cost we had was much more reputational than material. Why reputational? Because yes, definitely there was a high number of victims, a high number of wounded people. Insurance companies paid the hospitalization cost of the wounded people, but unfortunately, we were not able to pay until a few months ago to start paying the bills for the repairs of the damaged properties. Why? First of all, we have we didn't have till date the results of the official investigations, so we cannot, we as insurance companies, state whether this event is covered under insurance contract or not. Usually, as per the Code des Obligations et des Contrats, it's on the insurance company to prove whether the event is covered or not. But in this particular case, the insurance companies were not allowed to carry their own investigation to determine whether this event was an act of war, an act of terrorism, or an accidental loss. What happened? We as insurance company sat together all together at the association and said, after a month, well, things are taking too much time and it looks like it will take more time. We started the negotiations with our insurers. This event, initially, the evaluation of the insured damages was about $1.2 billion, out of which more than 1 million were, 1 billion, sorry, were due by reinsured, where the reinsurers share on the damages. So we started negotiations with the reinsurers, telling them, look, we know that it's not, that we don't have yet the conclusion of the investigation, but however, things could take long and we have to determine a solution and to find out a solution to start indemnifying our insured. We started indemnifying small claims, and the reinsurer at the first stage showed a lot of positive reactions towards and a lot of sympathy towards the market. And they said, now we'll start paying. Afterwards, when things were taking much longer time and with the with all the political, the political involvement in this investigation and all what was written about, and they were aware of every single detail of what was happening during the investigation, they said, no, we stop. We cannot do it anymore. Why do you want to stop now? Look, we cannot have a precedent in other markets if ever the event is not covered, and we cannot cover I would say, an uninsured event. And they said, we would be ready to continue paying. However, you would have to, if the event is not covered under the insurance company, you would have to recover all indemnities paid to your insured people. And if at the end it happens that the claim is not covered because of the result of the investigation, if you recover or not the indemnity pays to your client, you will have to indemnify us and to bring back the money to us, which we're talking about $1 billion, which not the insurance company, local insurance company, cannot afford to fund. So on that, we had the deadlock, we had negotiations. There was a crisis committee made at the association. We negotiated, and then things started deblocking because we hardened and we might go into court action. We had the end of the deadlock maybe in July 2021, where the companies accelerated the payment. Until now, I would say most of the company are paying to their insured people, their indemnities, up to a certain extent, not all the big claims. But however, we'll still have, if we had the result of the investigation, it will have spared us a lot of troubles and a lot of waste of time. And especially that there are still some, and my colleague Labib knows about it, that we still have some reinsurers which do not want to hear about it, do not want to discuss, do not want to negotiate. So coming back to also to the blast and coming back to the capital control, the reinsurers came to us and told us, look, if we pay, we will have to offset all the premiums which you couldn't pay us. So it means we collected our premiums back in 2019, 2020 in what we call dollars, not in fresh. And those people are offsetting all these dues in fresh dollars. And this is why you knew maybe about, you heard, you are in the country and you heard our paying, companies paying part in fresh, part in dollars, not the whole sum, not the whole indemnity in fresh. Why? This is why, because first of all, company retained part of the risk. The companies retain part of the risk, which was cashed in dollars, so they cannot fund this part of the retention in fresh dollar. Then the premium which were offset were also cannot be funded by the companies. So in few months ago, there was a draft law presented by the MP Tony Frangier, which said that the companies should pay all the amounts of the claims in fresh money, which definitely cannot be applicable. It cannot be applied. Then it was brought back to the parliament by the President of the Republic, and we had a meeting afterwards, we as association with member of parliament, to find out a solution. When we exposed the case, like I am exposing to you today, they said, well, look, it's fair. So maybe we'll go for a draft law where the company would indemnify all the net part recovered from the reinsurers in fresh money and the other part in dollars, saying that the Insurance Control Commission, who have all the data of the insurance companies, can at any time apply this formula to all the companies, and they can verify whether the company is paying fairly to their client or not. So this is root plus claims. I think that the companies are innovating a lot. We are trying as much as possible to create new products to cope with the I would say the loss of purchasing power of our clients. We don't want to lose the clients that has been with us for decades. We always have to take care about them, but things are difficult. On the other hand, as I said in the introduction, we have a great threat of losing our talented team members, which are going abroad because of the salaries. So we're making our utmost to keep them here. We spent a lot of time and experience to share with them our old experience, and we cannot afford to lose them. I think a little bit, I took a little bit more time. I hope I was clear and ready to answer all your questions.
Thank you, Mr. Nasnas, for your presentation and for resuming the situation. However, we have to also take into consideration that there are many Lebanese families that have lost everything. They have lost everything after the explosion. They have lost their homes, they have lost their money, their savings, and now they are losing their health. So you talked about payment in fresh dollars, and these people, they don't even have fresh money to withdraw from the bank. So it's a very, very challenging time for them, and we might face many problems regarding this issue. So I will start with my first question from President-elect Ramzi Abu Samah, who is saying, good evening, Mr. Nasnas. Due to the depreciation of Lebanese currency and the block of our funds at banks and the non-possibility to withdraw fresh dollars, don't you think that the majority of people cannot afford anymore to make medical insurance on fresh dollars, which will affect from one part the health of the people, and secondly, the business insurance companies? And then another question, in your opinion, what is the percentage expectation of decreasing in medical business premium, taking the above facts, fresh cash needed policy mentioned? Thank you.
Look, definitely when we move into fresh, we knew that we would lose some business. However, what we know till now is that it's too early to say. It has been only 3 months. But the first 3 months, what we know is that as people, they are withdrawing either cash they have in their safes at home, or selling large checks to buy cash. Today, insurance is a high priority. Definitely, health insurance is the highest priority for people today. Nobody could afford to pay a hospital bill on his own. Nobody can do it. It's too expensive. And unfortunately, we cannot do a mismatch between the premiums we collect and the bills we pay. We cannot afford to have this threat on on this mismatch. So we're compelled to do so. We knew there was a risk. This is why we introduced, as I told, new products with lower I would say, benefits and cheaper premium. In my opinion, when we made our study, we said that we might lose 20% of the insured persons. However, due to today the inability of the Ministry of Health and the Social Security to fulfill their commitments toward people, I think that people are paying economy on other matters and paying their health insurance premium. On the other question, second question of Mr. Abu Samah on the premiums decreased between, as I said in the introduction, between 25 and 35% in numeral. It means that if you were paying $1,000 last year, $1,000, the premiums this year would be about $700. This is the average between companies. I hope I answered the question of Mr. Abu Samah.
Thank you, Mr. Nasnas, for your answer. In fact, we are all confused, or we were confused, and we are still confused about so many currencies in Lebanon, from fresh dollars to Lebanese pound, to the medical dollars, to hospital dollars. So all this also brought some confusion. And as you said, maybe you said you will be losing 20%. I believe you will be losing much more than that. If only based on fresh dollars, some people will have huge difficulties to get this amount of money and get insured. So have you thought about these people to come up with solutions for people who are not able to pay full amount in fresh?
The whole amount has to be paid fresh, but it will depend on as a premium reduction due to reduction in benefits or reduction in hospital networks. This is it. But we cannot today, when we're paying in fresh on the new policies, we have the bills in fresh. We cannot, as I told you, we cannot have a mismatch between what we pay and what we collect. We cannot anymore sustain any I would say inflation or exchange rate yo-yo effect. We cannot sustain it. So yes, we might lose. What we are noticing, Rodolphe, is that people, that in Lebanon we have hospitalization classes. So people which used to have first class are moving to second class or third class. And I think that a week ago I was on LBC with the Minister of Health and a consultant from UBMC. And this guy, Mr. Sandakli, I can't remember his name now, but he said something very important. Today with this crisis, we should change our habits. We are going to get hospitalized. We're not going to hotel. If we have to means to pay a hotel, we pay for it. Otherwise, the utmost priority is to be hospitalized. Unfortunately, we were forced rich. We thought we were rich. We are not rich. And we live much above of our means, much higher than our means. Today, I think we have to go back to basics. We have a transition period which is difficult to everyone. We have to go back to basics. And today, the basics is to get hospitalized independently of the class of hospitalization, or we have to change our habits. We have to go not necessarily to the I would say the well-renowned doctor. There might be people, physicians, which are not well known but as efficient as the others. Things have to change. abroad, when you go abroad in the CHO and assistance publique in France, you don't have first and second and third class. And every body can go there and goes there. You have excellent physicians there, and much more than private clinics. So we have to change our habits, definitely.
Yes, in fact, yes, in France they have, but they don't have August 4 blast. They don't have a government that is idle. They don't have a crisis. They don't have capital control. So all this is, I don't try to justify you, Mr. Nasnas, but I am just mentioning a concern that many people have. Is it possible, for example, in the future to have, I don't know, like you said, first class, first category, second category, third category, and where you can define as insurance companies the hospitals. So if people would like to get to go to first class hospitals, they will have to pay a certain insurance, first class, second class, and third class. Otherwise, they have other option in less reputed hospital. Is this
already in place? It's already in place. It's already in place. This is why I told you we made some product differentiation to cope with the purchasing power of people and people having the essential is being hospitalized. So we had this product deviations and product which make the product much more affordable than the, I would say, the traditional ones.
And how people can get to know these insurance? Is there any number, any website, any company that we can?
All the companies have their products on their website. They can call their brokers, their agents, or directly the companies. Definitely, it's very clear. Perfect. And it's offered to the client. The clients are being offered this alternative.
Okay, thank you. We'll go to our next question from past President Huda Hashim. She's saying, hello, we have a private laboratory in Tyre. My question is, since you are charging your clients with fresh dollars, are you willing to repay the outpatients test in fresh dollars also?
Yes, Mrs. Hashim, we already, for new policies, we had an arrangement with the syndicate of laboratories where we pay either in fresh or I don't know how you say it. It's like the K in L004 or 04. I'm not a specialist, but I recall this. And we pay it either in fresh or fresh equivalent. It means 20,000 today, $20 at 20,000. Yes. Did I answer your question, Mrs. Hashim?
Mrs. Hashim, if you can comment in the screen. Thank you. She said yes, thank you. I would like to encourage the Rotarians and guests to please write their questions to Mr. Nasnas in the chat area, and then I will in order for us to ask him accordingly. We are waiting for other questions, Mr. Nasnas. Do you think that when you said that the premium has been reduced 30% in comparison with the previous year, do you think that for of course the same quality of service than the first one? So in your opinion, this will last for a certain period of time, or then we will come back to the original pricing, or it might reduce with time as well?
No, it will. I think that with time it will increase because you have the component of the bills today. Our expense ratio coming, or the expense ratio coming from the wages, which are not yet recovering what they used to be. I think with time, within 1 or 2 years, I think at the end of 2023, wages will recover, which they used to be the same purchasing power they used to have in 2019. So with time, I think within 2 years, we'll have the same tariffs that we had before, but in fresh.
Thank you. We'll go to our next question from incoming President Mike Haroon. What about group insurance? Does this apply to group insurance also, like the syndicate of engineers?
Yes, in principle, but always based on group insurance. The prices are tailor-made based on the experience rating of each group. So it depends if the group was loss-making or money-making or profit-making. However, yes, it applies. The reduction applies.
Thank you. We will go to our next question from Rotarian Khalid Bouhsali. What about those with income growth plan insurance that is supposed to be invested with AAA rated banks? Why insurance companies are refusing to pay fresh?
Well, first, if the investment are made in Lebanon, if it is triple rated bank, Alpha Bank or minus D Bank, today we have the same issue. We cannot rate. However, for investment made abroad, it means what we call unit-linked. When the customer himself has chosen a fund abroad and placed the investment abroad, any redemption, any surrender on such contracts will be paid in fresh dollars. Should be paid in fresh dollars. If the investment is made abroad at the choice of the policyholder in a fund abroad, yes, because the policyholder has taken the risk to place abroad, he should be paid in fresh dollars. But for the local investments, no.
Rotarian Khalid Bouhsali is saying we don't have AAA banks in Lebanon.
No, they call them alpha banks, not AAA. Yes, not AAA rated. No, but if ever, as I said, it's an investment made abroad and in funds which are available abroad, and the policyholder has taken the risk himself to tell the company, I want the investment in fund X abroad, then this money, in case the policyholder wants to surrender and to make a redemption on his policy, he should be paid fresh. I hope it's clear. Mr. Bouhsali, did I answer your question?
We will have the answer of Rotarian Khalid.
Actually, this is I'm talking about what used to be called like American life insurance. When they sell you the product, they say it's invested in AAA bank and abroad. And now, when it comes to reality, they don't pay. This is a scam. I consider this. We're receiving a lot of complaints about it.
I know. I know. Mr. Bouhsali, I'm aware of it. I'm aware of some exceptions which are made by some companies. Unfortunately, we cannot name, and the Insurance Control Commission will take action against unfair treatment of any client. But if the investment was made abroad to the knowledge of the client, and the client has chosen to have this investment abroad, then yes, he is entitled to get his reimbursement abroad or in fresh dollars here.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Khalid. We'll go for one more question. It is from Muhammad Abdullah. So regarding August 4, would you have to wait for the investigation result or the verdict?
No.
I know you mentioned in your presentation, but if you can be more specific about this.
I would say that today most of the insurance companies are paying their claims. Not all of them, but the biggest majority is, and up to a certain extent. The bigger claims have what we call facultative reinsurers, where we'll have to go the green light of the reinsurers to pay because they have the largest share. However, we are paying without prejudice, without recognition of liability. It means that today it's a kind of an advance payment we make to our customers, and if ever the verdict comes that it's not an insured event, the client should reimburse us the money which I own, because We cannot pay claims which are not covered. This is, we cannot do it. It's clear?
Excellent. Thank you, Mr. Nasnas, for your clear and straightforward answers. Just in case some of our members or guests have other questions, we will forward them to you, and I hope you will be able to answer them, if you are okay. Mr. Nasnas.
Sorry?
Just to inform you that we might have maybe later some other questions coming from our members. So we will forward the emails to you and hoping that you will answer them.
Definitely. I will definitely answer.
Okay, I have a last question. It is from our presidents. And insurance have to take an insurance to get back their money. It's a statement, in fact.
It's a statement. It's what we're living today is something. In French, c'est surréaliste. C'est complètement surréaliste what we're living. Who could ever thought about who would have to live such times, unfortunately. But we as insurance industry are struggling, but definitely we'll get out of it. We're resilient and we'll get out of it. And I'm very hopeful. I'm very, I believe that all insurance companies working properly will get out of the crisis and go towards the future.
Thank you very much, Mr. Nasnas. Now I will pass the mic to President Ronnie, who would like to present you a certificate of appreciation in the name of our club.
Mr. Nasnas, thank you very much for this presentation. I know that the insurance is going through a very difficult time, and I hope that many companies will survive all what has happened after they have paid all the claims. In the name of my club members, I would like to give you the certificate of appreciation for your time and for your efforts and for all the explanation you have given us tonight. Thank you very much.
I would like to thank you on behalf of ACAL and the whole industry and say hello to Charles Arbid. No, I would like to thank you for giving me this opportunity. I think that we as insurance companies and the insurance industry, what we're doing today is communicating much more with the public, with the people, and our aim is to be completely transparent with all our policyholders. Today, we have right, the policyholders, they have rights, but also they have liabilities, and we should work with all our policyholders in a complete transparent manner. So thank you very much for giving me this opportunity, and good night.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Nasnas. It was a real pleasure having you tonight. And also, I would like to announce that it will be a pleasure to have Mr. Shahar Arbid, with the President of the Economic and Social Council in Lebanon, on Wednesday, March 2nd, 2022. I would like to wish you a good night and see you on March 2. Thank you once again,